Welcome. Today we're doing a focused analysis, looking closely at one really specific, important year, 1977.
Right. And our sources frame it in a fascinating way.
Yeah, not just, another year on the calendar, but as this sort of technological turning point, a moment where our biggest science fiction dreams about space kind of smashed right into the hard reality of what we could actually build.
It's a great contrast, isn't it? The sources really highlight this duality. 1977, you've got these two huge visions of the future launching almost side by side.
Okay, so what are they?
Well, on one hand, maybe the biggest sci-fi cultural wave ever hits the cinemas, Star Wars.
Right.
And then, almost unnoticed by comparison at the time, real space hardware starts this incredible journey. Hardware that's, and this is the amazing part, still going today.
Still going, wow.
Yeah. So it sets up this compelling comparison between, let's say, imagined ambition and just really robust, solid engineering.
Okay, so our aim here is to really dig into that moment. We'll compare the cultural memory, which is huge, obviously, for the movie, against the sheer physical endurance of these machines still flying out there. It's like looking at two types of lasting power, pop culture staying power versus nuts and bolts durability.
Exactly.
Let's start with the pop culture earthquake then. Star Wars, Episode 4, originally just Star Wars. When you read the source material describing that 1977 premiere, it sounds like an experience that just doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, completely. The scale, first off, we forget, or maybe younger listeners never knew, these weren't multiplexes with tiny screens. We're talking huge, single-screen cinemas. Palaces, really.
Holding thousands.
Yeah, easily. The sources mention auditoriums seating over 2,000 people, and the queues. You had to go early, hours early. Standing in line, hoping to get in. It was an event.
That whole idea, the communal feeling, having to physically queue up for hours, it feels almost alien now with streaming, right? Everything's on demand.
It's totally gone. That shared anticipation, the sheer physical effort of seeing a film, the sources paint it vividly. That Star Wars impact in 77, it feels almost like ancient history in terms of how we watch things now.
And the ground was fertile for this kind of space story, wasn't it?
Well, that's a key point the sources make. This generation, they weren't coming to space fantasy cold. They'd already lived through something truly monumental.
The moon landing.
Exactly, 1969. Seeing a human foot actually step onto the moon, that wasn't fantasy, that was real. It absolutely primed them, opened their minds to grand, adventurous stories set in space.
So it tapped into something already there, and it really redefined the blockbuster film, didn't it? Alongside maybe something like Jaws a couple years earlier.
Definitely. Jaws showed the event movie potential, the lines around the block. Star Wars took that and, blasted it into hyperspace. It was an era obsessed with big experiences.
And speaking of big, you can't talk Star Wars without its non-human characters.
Ah, yes. The droids. C-3PO and R2-D2.
Instantly iconic. C-3PO, the gold humanoid one, always worried, speaking in that very precise kind of robotic way.
Right, the protocol droid. And then R2-D2, or Arturo, as some translations amusingly had it, the little barrel-shaped one on wheels, communicating in beeps and whistles.
Utilitarian, loyal, a totally different feel.
And this is where the sources pivot towards the technology, and it's one of the most revealing insights, I think. There's a kind of technological miscalculation baked into how they were presented.
A miscalculation, meaning like the filmmakers didn't guess where tech would go.
Pretty much, yeah. Especially with computation and AI. Look at C-3PO again. His way of speaking is very deliberately synthetic, formal, limited by his programming. The sources argue, quite convincingly, I think, that if you made that film today, C-3PO wouldn't just, walk more smoothly or look shinier. He'd speak perfectly, like a real person.
Because the AI would be so much more advanced, integrated right into it.
Exactly. The hurdle wouldn't be the mechanics nearly as much as the processing needed for genuinely natural, fluent conversation. That level of AI, we carry it in our pockets now.
So back in 77, they could imagine the complex body, the walking, the talking, but not the miniaturized brain power needed for real conversation.
That's the nub of it. Computing then meant big, specialized machines. They could visualize advanced mechanics, hydraulics, fine motor control. But the idea of a compact, powerful, general-purpose AI like a neural network fitting inside a droid's head, that wasn't really on the conceptual map in the same way. They thought mechanical complexity, but sort of underestimated the coming revolution in onboard intelligence.
Interesting. So the look of the future was maybe closer than the sound of its intelligence. The dialogue tech felt dated almost right away.
You could say that. And that gap between the 1977 sci-fi vision and, say, 2024 AI reality, it really says something about predicting technological leaps, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so let's hold that thought and pivot. Same year, 1977, we leave the cinema lines and look up at the actual sky.
Right. From movie screens to launch pads, this is where the story of truly enduring hardware begins.
The Voyager probes.
That's it. September 1977. 2 launches, just about 2 weeks apart. Voyager 2 went first, then Voyager 1 on a faster trajectory. And what makes the sources focus on them is just the unbelievable resilience of that engineering.
We're talking probes built with, what, 1970s technology, maybe even designed earlier.
Oh, absolutely. The core designs and components draw heavily from the tech of the late 60s and early 70s. And these machines, they're still working, still active, still sending back data today.
It's genuinely hard to wrap your head around that kind of longevity. Decades later.
It's more than just lasting. It's a real testament to designing for the incredibly harsh environment of deep space. And the sources get into why the 70s tech has lasted so much longer, in a way, than its fictional counterparts from the same year.
Okay, so what were those design choices? Why do they endure?
Well, first, power. Crucial out there. They don't use solar panels, not primarily. They couldn't, going out past Jupiter where sunlight is too weak. They use something called RTGs, radioisotope thermoelectric generators. Basically, they harness the heat from the natural radioactive decay of plutonium-238 to make electricity.
Nuclear batteries, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. And that power source has just kept going for, well, over 45 years now. Far, far longer than the original mission required. It let them keep working way out in the darkness of interstellar space.
So, built for total self-sufficiency right from the start.
Exactly. And second, the computers. They are incredibly simple by today's standards. The sources even mention things like 8-track tape recorders for digital data storage early on.
Seriously, 8-track.
Yeah. The microprocessors were basic, slow, but crucially, they were chosen for radiation hardening.
Oh, okay.
Modern chips with billions of tiny transistors packed together, they're incredibly vulnerable to damage from cosmic rays and high-energy particles over decades in space. The Voyager computers were simple, spread out, had lots of redundancy, built tough to survive the intense radiation belts around planets like Jupiter and just the general background radiation of space.
So it's like the tortoise and the hare. Rugged simplicity winning the marathon against high-speed, fragile complexity.
That's a great way to put it. That's the core engineering insight here. And we need to give people a feel for the sheer scale of what these simple machines have achieved. The distance and speed are just staggering.
Okay, give us the numbers.
Right now, they're traveling at about 61,000 kilometers per hour, over 17 kilometers every second.
61,000 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try and make that relatable. How far away are they?
Distance-wise, they're now over 166 times farther from the sun than the Earth is. They're way out beyond the influence of the sun in what scientists call interstellar space. It's hard to even picture that region properly.
Okay, maybe the speed is easier. 61,000 kph. How does that compare to something familiar like orbiting Earth?
Good question. The Earth's circumference is roughly 30,000 kilometers.
Right.
So if Voyager was somehow orbiting Earth at that speed, it would go all the way around and then halfway around again every single hour.
Every hour.
Every hour. Think about watching, I don't know, a football game at night. You'd literally see that piece of 1970s tech streak overhead twice during the game.
Wow. That really puts it in perspective. That speed from tech designed 50 years ago, it's just incredible.
It really is. And it shows where the engineering priorities were. Survival, endurance, reliable data transmission over decades.
Okay, so let's loop back then. 1977, this is an incredible snapshot moment. On one side, you have popular culture giving us these fictional robots like C-3PO, whose defining tech feature his voice. His AI now seems almost quaint compared to the AI we use every day.
Right. Outdated by the very thing it was trying to portray, advanced intelligence.
And in the exact same year, we launched these real machines, the Voyagers, built with comparatively simple, rugged tech that are still operating, still hurtling through interstellar space at unbelievable speeds, defy obsolescence precisely because they weren't built with today's kind of complex, fragile computational power.
And that's the unique point the sources drive home, this compelling resilience of that early space-age engineering. It was designed for one thing above all, survival in an extreme environment. And you contrast that with the sort of lightning-fast evolution and maybe inherent fragility of consumer-driven computing tech.
It's like the technology built to leave Earth behind proved more durable than the fictional technology imagined for living on Earth, or at least interacting like us.
That's a fascinating way to see it. The robust, spacefaring hardware lasted, the vision of everyday intelligent machines became obsolete almost instantly by comparison.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our constant drive for more speed, more processing power, the very things that make C-3PO's speech seem dated, have we maybe lost some of that engineering focus on sheer robustness? That radiation-hardened simplicity needed for true, decades-long endurance. It kind of invites you to reconsider what advanced technology really means.
The author is Pablo E.M.G, or Pablo E.M.G to the English-speaking world, though a few old friends still call him Trumpo. He adores Metallica and Oasis. He is still a rugger at heart, blood type A plus air, and his podcast can be found across every platform. Pablo published over 12,950 posts on his blog, pablomera.blogspot.com. You may write to him at trump@hotmail.com.